Hello viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Future Friday, we're going to talk about three-body problem. It's basically a sort of review, so let's dive deep into it. So what exactly is this media? This media is a complete trilogy of remembrance of Earth's past. There are three novels published into this. The first novel is The Three-Body Problem, second is The Dark Forest, third is The Death's End. And this whole package deal is called Remembrance of Earth's Past. And this first novel was published in 2008. So from novel's point of view, it's surprisingly recent. And Ling Xing, this gentleman basically is a Chinese science fiction author. And you may have heard of his another popular project known as Wandering Earth. That's from him. And this is first time you are seeing some science fiction that is not from West, quote unquote. So it's a very unique take on things. Now, Three Body Problem series was produced by Netflix. Now, be mindful, there is a Chinese make also, but it's almost Chinese propaganda because again, he's a Chinese. He knows about the dark past and he showed it, right? He wrote it in the novel itself, but Chinese TV show is like, no, they did not show it. So, that is there, but it's not great, and that's very limited to one novel. This Netflix one is taking a stroll through all these novels, or specifically between these two. So, Three Body Problem is Netflix. Now, who's making it? It's made by Danny Bainoff and D.B. Weiss. Now, here's the deal. You may be like, I heard these names. Well, yeah, they are from Game of Thrones. They're like, wait a minute, then why they are getting it? Well, it is factually true that later seasons of Game of Thrones became what the hell. The earlier seasons were god tier. That's why they became so popular. Now, why the earlier first half was so great and second half was so bad is simply because in first half they had the source material, aka complete source material, meaning when they crunched it, they got a good essence out of it. They made a good show out of that essence. But here's the deal. Once the novel ran out, the essence was provided directly by George R.R. Martin. Now that created a paradox. It's like, think in this way: sugarcane, you extract sugarcane juice out of it. It's awesome, it's sweet and it's tasty. But what if you extract essence from that? Now it becomes bitter. That's the same thing happened. The source material went missing. They did not have enough details to paint a picture, then extract the important detail. So that backfired. Here, they do not have to worry about it. There is enough source material, completely enclosed story, so they do not have to worry about it. And given the early reception of season 1, and I have also watched it, it actually has some serious potential. Let that be very clear. And there is a very good chance there is some other individual also who's applying some breaks, because they did start to fly a bit high during later season, because any other writer could have been like, bro, I get it, you have this essence, let's paint it a bit, right? You got the extract, let's add some material to it. So they're making, basically they have learned from their experience, or at least Netflix has learned from it, and they're like, okay, let's apply some breaks. And again, source is better, and they also have some other people applying some disc breaks and managing some situations. So first season was launched and it had 8 episodes, and there is a very good chance season 2 will also be created. And I have already watched it and it's good. It's a definitely unique. Would I recommend watching it? Yes, it's a different thing. Now, do not watch it like a very high whoa kind of thing. Watch it like, whoa, it's unique. A uniqueness, 100 out of 100. Other things, not great, not terrible. It's just like, but uniqueness wise, like, whoa. So media wise, that's what we are talking about. So what is the story, the essence of it? Now, so far, everything becomes spoiler, but be mindful, it will not affect the story too much, even if you watch my whole video. But just warning. Now, story is basically in their world, basically this world, you have Fermi paradox. Now, Fermi paradox is basically mathematical reality is that something is off with our world. Meaning, if we have so many galaxies, if we have so many stars, if we have bonkersly large amount of planets into it, even if we create ludicrously large amount of number, where it's like, 0.0000 ludicrously large, 1% of planets are Earth-like, where they can habitat, basically become a safe harbor for life. There should be way too many life species scattered all around the planet, all around, like everywhere. Like we look, 10 light years up, it's like, hey, bruh. We look 5 light years down, it's like, bruh. It's like, that should happen. That should be the reality of it. But that's not happening. Like as of now, that's not happening. So why is that? Well, in this reality, dark forest hypothesis plays a role. The hypothesis is very simple, that there are species, but they are very quiet. Why they are quiet? Because there is a paradox. The paradox is that life wants to expand. Cool, awesome. But here's the deal. The resource in the universe is limited. So, which again, I go back to the fact that I think it's a writer's limitation of understanding. It's like planets. They want to take over planets. Like planet has no value. Like once you actually become spacefaring civilization, planet has no value. And specifically, once you start to have artificial gravities, any place is a planet. Like that's the one thing that planet offers. That's why we want to colonize planets. It's a gravity. If we start to actually build spin habitats, we will no longer even worry about that. Then Dyson swarms makes more logical sense. And a single solar system has so much resources, so much material that you can't really just run out of it. Like hextrillions of species has to be created, and only 5 or 6 stars you will reach ludicrously large number. Like, so this idea of running out of resources sounds cool, like mathematically sounds cool, but it's like, it's a very old, like, Star Wars and Star Trek kind of understanding, like, 1960s understanding. It's like not our current modern space understanding. It's like, that's not really, but again, in their world, that's the reality, and every species is agreeing to it. And there are species that come out and they're not hiding, and they generally get boomed by someone else who saw them. So dark forest, basically the forest is very dark. Why it's dark? Because light speed is limited. You do not get to see to everyone, and traveling speed is also limited. So even if you fired something, let's say you take a probe and fired at someone at 1% of light speed, that could take, let's say in case of Alpha Centauri, 400 years to reach us. Now in that 400 years, that's a huge time from a human perspective, but that's a blink of an eye from a cosmic perspective. So humanities can go from barely getting anything done to like, we are the god bitches. So that could happen in 400 years. That's like, think it this way, like what will happen 400 years ago? Like imagine humanity that we have, smartphone that we have right now, 400 years ago. It would look like black magic, but we have it. We don't even care about it. We complain about it. So what will happen 400 years from now? We cannot. So there is an actual reality of it. It's like if you have a time, because of the size of the universe, time becomes a very problematic variable. So if anybody spots anyone, it becomes in their best interest to go and boom them, because if you do not, they will grow up and they will see you, and then they will come and boom you, because again, they also want resources. So that's the hypothesis of it, that basically everybody is silent and everybody is hostile, meaning making contact with another species, yeah, poof, that's basically signing your own death warrant. And in that realm, so to say, they have higher beings, so to say. So anybody who screams, boomed. They get boomed out of it, like flat out boomed out of it. And why they boom somebody else? Because somebody is even above them that does that booming. So everybody is booming everybody else. So it's very silent, it's very hostile. Now, that's the core essence of the universe that they are residing in. And they have aliens, not aliens. And what they are talking about is very simple. How does humanity, not humanity reacts to what we call a real and absolute danger, but it's slow. Basically, the more I study human psychology, the more I realize one critical flaw in our evolutionary path. We are blinded to slow change. We cannot see slow change. Meaning, let's say you take India or China, and we have rivers, right? Awesome, cool. Now here's the thing. When you plan building a dam into it, every hydrologist, the government will hire a hydrologist. So it's like, where is the best place? What is the water flow? How can we manage it and all that? And they will give you a data set. And in that data set, there will be one line very specifically clear. What is the evaporation rate expansion? Basically, I do not know the exact term they use. It's basically a river has a natural evaporation rate. When you build a dam, you exponentially increase it. Downstream, you choke it out. And the backstream, because you increase the surface area and windage area, the evaporation rate exceeds so much. So basically 1x was the normal. Let's say x is the normal evaporation. Building a Three Gorges dam, that x becomes 15. You no longer have enough glaciers to keep it running. The river boils away, basically. We know this. Basically, mathematicians plan for this. Hydrologist gives you a projection data, and all that projection data is wrong, because again, that assumes the fixed earth temperature. Add global warming to it, so their temperature, their mathematical predictions goes from, yeah, the river will dry in 30 years to river will disappear in 25. And 25, I'm being gentle, many have river already disappeared. 2022 was the first year China literally boiled one of their rivers away, and that was first time in 3000 years. So you understand that, like, we know this. People know this, mathematical calculated, but because it's a slow thing, meaning this dam will cause this river to disappear in 30 years, our brain just eats it. That information does not digest. The moment you say anything, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, our brain is like, nope, that just becomes nope. So this story is stretching that part. What if you know an absolute threat is there? You are scared. That's how absolute it is. But it is 400 years away from you. Now what? Basically, slowly, human that blindness takes over, and then everybody's like, hey dude, my children's problem. It's like, I'm not gonna care about it unless everybody starts to work and take care of it right now. Only then you have a fighting chance, but nobody cares. And that's a very unique problem of humanity. It's like humanity, global warming is a minor inconvenience to humans, like in terms of technological requirement. We are not solving it because it's a slow problem. Like the same reason drought happens. It's like we know drought is happening. That's why drought is classified as creeping disaster. We humans are blind to creeping things, meaning anything that is moving slowly, like a tracks, we cannot see. We just cannot see it. So this whole story is like exposure of that part of us. So that's very unique. That's what I'm saying. Like it has genuine uniqueness to it. Now, humans are not shown as one entity. This is also another richness of many science fiction are very black and white because of this reason. They're like human versus alien. But how do you know that will happen? Like again, intelligence, especially self-aware intelligence, will never have that, because again, more self-aware you are, the more disagreements will be there. Like just out of sheer mathematics, there will be more disagreement, and other things also amplifies this. So in case of this, majority of humans are like, okay, let's fight it. Many people are like, I don't care. Other people are like, let them come. It's one of those things. That's a very true reality, right? That's a very true reality. Like, why do people want communism? Because ASD, it's worse. People will starve to death. We have real world countries that are starving to death right now. Not Soviet Union that killed God knows how many people, and not Venezuela that has just like, people say India is poor. Go to Venezuela. Like, go to Venezuela. Go to their hospital. And to be fair, India's hospitals are so awesome that we are becoming medical tourism. So go there. Communism. Go there. But why do so many young people want communism in their healthy and working country? Because they are left out. They are like, dude, if it's not for me, let everything burn. And that's real humanity. It's not perfect. It's not sunshine and rainbow. So this whole idea of like not showing humanity is like everybody is in like one page. There would be more than enough people who are like, no, let them come, let them burn everybody. Because again, I'm a loser. I did not want into this ecosystem. Again, some could be fault of myself, some could be fault of the society. Imagine being born in Venezuela, or being born in Gaza, and you're born and boom, missile. What was your fault? You were just born and then your building blew up. Things happen. So those sort of people will have completely different reaction to, oh, alien is coming to boom us all. You may be happy, you may even celebrate it. That's a very unique take on it. And I like that part, where it's like, they're not showing human equal human. It's like humanity has collection of these things. So everybody has their individual take to it. So that's there. They are all contributing to greater whole. And this is also a realistic aspect of it. There are stratas of species. That's basically the easiest way to describe it. Is almost like communists are there. It's like, you know what? I know capitalism that works, and I know communism, everybody starves, but because I'm starving in a capitalist society, how about everybody starves? They know this. They willingly want everybody to burn so they can be like equal. So there will be traitors. There are sects, so to say. They're like, let the alien come, just let us wipe us out and all that. Because again, not because they want alien or love alien, because they are hateful of humans. And this show really showcases, like, this lady makes a decision, but again, if you understand her past, and again, that China's actual history, you will be like, yeah, I would most likely I'll do the same thing. So that's why it's truly unique. I would really say it's a top in terms of uniqueness, where it's like, hey, humanity does not have a protocol to handle long term. We do not have cohesion. We are not hive mind, and nor do I want hive mind. But again, that also creates a consequences, where you can have a simple reaction as like, oh, this is done, problem solved, to like, no problem solved. So it's a very unique scenario. Now, the name of the system is n-body problem, or a 3-body problem. Basically, n simply means the moment you exceed above 2, it becomes hulululu. So what is that? Now, it is a mathematical reality. The moment you have more than 2 bodies in a system, physical world, basically celestial objects that you are talking about, it becomes chaotic. Now, let that be clear. Chaotic, we are generally interpose that word chaotic with unpredictable, but it's not unpredictable. Whenever you're talking about chaotic, it simply means the sensitivity to turbulations. Basically, you change one variable a little bit. What is the outcome at the other end? That becomes too random. That's what we call unpredictable. It's not a random. It's not chaotic. It's just that you cannot calculate it. Why you cannot calculate it? Because you have too many variables. And this is a real mathematical problem. How real it is? Well, Newton, you may know him. He basically created the system of gravity and equation and all that, and it's like, okay, we got this. He calculates the equation of the solar system, and then he's like, okay, I got this. Mathematics works, projection works, and all that. Cool, awesome. But what if I run the mathematics for years on it, right? Like I take the same mathematics that is working, I'm predicting things, everything is checking out, but what if I run the simulation for longer, right? I calculate for, instead of 1 year, 10 years, 100 years, 1000 years. And when he started to do that, he noticed a problem. Every time he started to stretch it for thousands of years, its outcome was some planets will be ejected out of the solar system, some will crash into the sun. It's like, okay, the system is unstable, right? Unstable. And he's like, okay, what the hell? And he did that. He did his best multiple times to be like, okay, let's figure it out. Outcome was always he could not figure it out, because again, it's a three-body problem. You cannot calculate for Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. You just cannot. Outcome was, even though his math was correct, prediction was correct, it was not stable. And he was like, okay, so let's put God here. And God comes in, tightens the screw, everybody's cool. And then after a few years, screws becomes loose, God comes in, tightens it again. That's Newton's equation. Spend 100 years after that point, 100 or 200 or whatever have you. Some other people come, it's like, okay, what if I try a different tactics? The tactics is numerical integration and some other clever mathematics that is far beyond my understanding. And they started to realize that it cancels out. If you specifically have a ginormous mass of sun, everything else is negligible. Jupiter and Saturn may have some interference, but compared to sun, they might as well not exist. So all the turbulence, so basically once Earth is here, a lot of planets are pulling in, other planets are pulling apart, other planets are pulling in, other planets are pulling out. It's all cancels out. So it's stable. So this time it's like, okay, the screws are tight, you do not need God to tighten it, everything is cool. So we went from barely understanding it, why the systems are unstable, to like, okay, we realize there is a mathematical limit. N-body problem, you cannot simulate it for very long duration. Let that be clear, is the duration. If somebody gave you a three-body system, it's like, this is a three-body system. Can you calculate right now? Let's say they give you a screenshot and some direction to it. Like let's say you have 1 day of exposure to it. Like, you know, this is the trace angle and all that. 1 day, how much movement happened in 1 day? Can you predict the next day? Absolutely. You just can't predict long. Basically, you cannot be like, oh, I have this snapshot of this solar system. Now I can predict what will happen 5 years from now. No. So single body, you could. Dual body, triple body, yeah, lol. Triple body is lol. So basically N-body problem. The moment you are talking about like the center of our Milky Way, you see so many stars are there. Like we know this, we're calculating this, but it's too chaotic. This is real life. This is real life observation from our telescopes and all that stuff. Too many jingle. Like these are simple compared to this real world. This was actually a galactic center where you have a supermassive black hole and multiple stars are going in. It's too chaotic to calculate, but it works. We can predict it reasonably, but not for very long. If we can give you a trajectory data, that will work for 1 or 2 orbit. If we cannot give you a trajectory data 500 orbits from now, that will not work. Now, why is that? Well, in law of physics, there is 3 dimension, not 2, 3. So whenever you talk about stable points, when you are talking about Lagrange points, basically, these points are described as stable points. While they are stable, there are certain points that are naughty or saddle points, meaning they are stable and unstable at the same time. Like how you can be stable and unstable? Well, 3 axes. So in one axis, you look from side, basically you look from this axis, you will find a dip. So you're like, okay, there is a stable point here. Things wants to come here and stay here because it's a low energy state, stable point. Cool, awesome, GG. Yes, now go from other axis. Like this axis stable, this axis is unstable because it's on top of a peak. Now you're like, okay, it has to be exactly right. If it's not, it's gonna fall this side or that side. Unstable. So one motion is happening, but here still you need to know precisely and you need infinite precision, which law of physics does not allow infinite precision. So you will have only a guess which side it will fall. And again, if the saddle is very sharp, basically it's very sharp, it's almost like a knife edge, or it's like tweet, tweet. And that's where chaos comes in. Like you cannot calculate reliably enough. If you know, like let's say you figured it out, oh, it went on the right side, all your calculation will work. Oh, it went left side, all your calculation will work. But can you predict it will go to right side all the time? No. That's the problem. Saddle points are the main celestial assholes, so to say. So they make our life very difficult. So saddle is the point where you have stability and instability at the same time. Now be mindful, these mathematics, that's what astrophysicists do. This is far beyond my understanding and like actually describing it, but that's the whole point. Now, can humanity handle it? Yes, we can handle it because of numeral integration. Meaning, instead of figuring things out on long terms, we are like, okay, what if we chop it, put data on small segments, and we became very good. Real life, we became very good. Like 3-body system, we are like, we're good. 1 or 2 orbits, like we are good. Hundreds of orbit, sloppy, but like we good. It's almost like the best way of mathematically understanding it is thinking this way. If somebody asks you what is the weather gonna be 1 week from now, there is a very good chance that you can make a prediction and it will be reasonably good enough given our current understanding. Same tool, same technology, same mathematics. Ask them to predict 1 month from now, the output would be lol. That's the whole point. There is a time horizon. You cannot stretch it to forever. So if somebody asks you like what's going to be weather 5 years from now, no, you do not know. What we're going to be weather from like tomorrow, you can calculate it. So same thing. Time horizon is the problematic part. So n-body problem simply means the time horizon is very shrinked. It's not unsolvable, it's the time is very small. So you cannot predict like 5 orbits from now. Maybe you will be able to predict 2-3 orbits. And the more this sort of points are there, where like, stable and unstable calculations are happening, the more sloppy yours will be. The best case you may, if really bad scenario, you may only get 1 orbit prediction. But if you have good enough observation and some stability, you should be able to calculate at least few orbits, not hundreds, but few orbits. So n-body problem. This is the core reality of it. We cannot predict it. Law of physics prohibits us from predicting it, but we are good enough and in short enough time duration, we are reliable enough. Now, the aliens, the Sofan makers and the Shang-Chi, they're super stupid because they can make space fleet, which again, that's a big ask to have a civilization, to build a space fleet where you can actually go to another star system. That's a wow. They're a bit slow. They're only 1% light speed, which is not that fast. Not from a human metric. It's not that fast. I'll talk about that further, but they can do big things. So they have a fleet, they can travel at reasonable light speed, and they have sentient AI. Now, that is okay. We can almost see that we can make a hairstyle. That's the size of a proton. So they have this technology where they are like, okay, they take a proton and go vabam it, energy dump into it, and then expand the dimension to it, and then go like vabam it again, and basically expand a proton to the size of a planet. Okay, so far you just expanded it. Okay, what then? They have technology to make a proton membrane into an actual computer. Basically, they etch into it, like how we have silicon disk and we etch into it to make computers. They basically have a proton that expands to a size of a planet, and then they etch into it, and then they have like a full planet-sized computer, basically a sentient AI, and then they fold it back up, which is size of a proton, and then they launch it at light speed. Now, so far, so good. I'm cool. I'm like, how did it slow down? That was my question when I was watching the show. It's like, okay, you launched it at light speed. Cool, awesome, GG. Near light speed. We can do that. That's a Large Hadron Collider. That's a basic bitch technology. You did that. It's just like, how did it slow down? How did it slow down? So, but again, let's assume you have magical slowdown technology. They did that, and it maintains real-time communication light years apart. Why? Because these are entangled pairs. Yeah, they are that high level. Okay, and they also have hibernation, meaning that when they were in biologically dependent states, the biology was very simple, where it's like, A, the planet is way too harsh, so you could freeze to death or you could boil to death. And those sort of scenario, hibernation was created that allowed basically resource strain to go down so drastically that they could survive the chaos era. Okay, cool, awesome, GG. And because of their evolution, harsh reality where like, survival of one means everybody survives, they did not develop the technology of lying. Yes, lying is a technology and it does take a lot of horsepower. So all these things are there. And I'm like, they cannot model 3-star system. Like, that was the whole premise. It's like, it's chaotic. I'm like, I get it. You cannot predict 100 orbits from now, but you can predict few orbits from now. Like, I get it. Like, in the early years, again, humanity itself would not be able to predict, 300 years ago. But right now, it's like minor inconvenience. Like, really? And again, if you have good enough observation post where you have a lot of things, again, you have a space fleet, that should be basic bitch stuff. You're observing it, you should be able to predict your calculation based on, oh, the planet crossed this Lagrange point, this is the outcome would be. Your prediction should be very precise. And again, I cannot expect like 5 months from now or 5 years from now, but damn sure for like at least 1 orbit. So, but again, they always are like, it cannot be predicted, it's very destructive. It's like, no, it's not. That really failed, like, because again, all you need to do is, if hibernation was a biological tool that allowed you to survive, all you need is biological hibernation on and off switch, right? That on and off switch, let's say it takes 1 month, you just need to play it for 1 month. That should be possible. But okay, let's say that's not there. But here's any system that is unstable is also easily controllable. Like, wait, how can you control a stars? Well, you can if it's unstable. If it's stable, you can't do anything. But if it's unstable, meaning it is going through that saddle point, just a small probe, very small probe. The more unstable that is, the more smaller probe you need just to yank it. Or either you can yank the planet out, or you can yank the stars where you want it to go. You can nudge it, like, hey, if it goes into left side of the saddle, we win every time. That's stable era. Okay, have a probe that compensates for it. It is doable. In known science is doable. Heck, we are leeching energy from Jupiter. Yeah, Voyagers and all that. Yeah, we have slowed down Jupiters and all that. Like, wait a minute, really? Yeah, but very small. It's like, I forgot, like, if 1,000 years or 10,000 years or million years, it's like it's gonna be 1 inch behind where it should have been. Like, again, it's like a tiny probe. And I do not know why people call gravitational assistance. It's not gravitational assistance. Gravitational assistant only allows you to change direction, does not increase your speed. So that speed increase that Voyager got, that happened from orbital leaching, meaning the planet is moving around the orbit, right? It's going. So that velocity you are taking. Gravity is basically look from a, let's say, object's point of view. This is a Jupiter. You came in, you went out. So energy came in, gravitational potential energy, you got high speed. But here's the moment you left, the speed was same, right? Like, you got 100 meter per second added, 100 meter per second lost. No change will happen. You can change direction. That's the one good thing. You can change the direction. That's cool. But you will not gain speed, because again, gravity is like pulling. It's like pulling. It compensates for it. Like, there is no, but here's it's moving. Now you can leech energy of that movement around the orbit. That's where you are leeching your energy. So it can be done. So if you have a hyper unstable system, which even one orbit is unpredictable, that would be like, bruh, few probes here and there. It's like, bruh, we got this. Or either you move the planet itself. It should be doable, especially if you can expand the proton with blah, 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 blah. It's like, it should be doable. It's like, then like, oh, 12 dimensions and all that. And again, even that's too far. How about you build a solar shield? If you can build a proton into a size of a freaking planet, have a shield. Just have a simple shield. Where it's like, okay, sun is coming up, too much love, too much solar energy. Okay, shield stops it. Okay, sun is going away, too much cooling. Okay, reflects the energy, extra energy. Temperature remains stable. It's super easy. We got this. You should have gotten this. It's like, that's why I felt a very stupid alien. It's like, bruh. And again, another aspect is like, planets are not that important once you know how to deal in space. Especially if you have artificial gravity, even spin habitats are not necessary. It's like, you need space, right? Surface area. You need surface area to live. We only occupy the skin of a planet. The core is lost to us. So if you want to go to space, and once you can actually do that, you will dismantle planets and have gigahectares of space. Gigahectares, like Google hectares of space. Then we have staircase project. This was the dumbest thing I saw, and I get it. The author may not have access to American documents, but holy damn, this was stupid. This I really wish that they would have changed in the TV show. But Project Orion is a real thing. Let that be very clear. It's as real as a nuclear weapons project. It was nuclear propulsion. It was done in 1950s and 60s. Yes, people were paid to do it. Researchers, scientists, mathematicians, engineers, people sat down, designed a project with the actual mission goal to going to the Mars. It was like that dead serious. Like, they were planning it out that seriously. And yes, they were actually building test articles of it. This is a real world test article. Instead of like proof of concept, they actually use C4. And you can see, even with C4, it's actually flying. With nukes, it will like, bruh, I got this. So then why didn't we continue forward to it? Well, nuclear test ban treaty was passed in 1963 and people lost interest into it. And what was the expected speed? It could have crossed more than 5% of light speed, and better designs were at the working stage, which again, many researchers did rework it again. They were touching 10% of light speed. That's why I said, like, 1% light speed is not that high. Like, especially if you have nuclear. Without nuclear, that's like very difficult to do. But with nuclear, that's like minor inconvenience. 2%, 3%, 5%, 10%. And again, if you have a fusion drive, that's like brah. That's brah. But that's brah technology. That's like brah. Like, with our ancient technology, and everybody's like, how can we do that? Like, 1% is so far ahead of us. It's like, do you have nuclear power? Yes or no? If you have, that's minor inconvenience. So they do not get it. And They have many designs, and I'm not talking about fusion designs that will not work. Fission designs that will give you higher speed than that. So 10% of light speed or higher is actually achievable in the known human science. So this whole the whole show, like it's not possible. It's like, please talk about this. Like we built this, we tested it. Like talk about it. So that really bothered. And who the heck designed this system? Where it's like, okay, we have a probe, okay, cool, awesome. We have a sail, cool, awesome. We have a nuke that is not loaded on the craft, but so the sail has a hole. Nuke has to basically pre-positioned nuke has to go through that center hole and then go boom and then dump enough oomph into the sail to be pulled along. Cool, awesome. Hairstyle. You are exposing both sail and the payload to a very high radiation environment. Why? And you cannot shield against nuke radiation because it has a neutron emission. That makes space radiation look comfortable in comparison. So who the heck came up with that? And that's why like they design it this way for this exact reason. The nuke goes far enough where based on the spread pattern they only need a very small shielding. In this design you need very advanced heavy shielding in front of you. Why? And be mindful, this the pathfinding, this is the pathfinding they have. Is like any course correction is impossible. You cannot do course correction. You just launch it and just hope for the best. This had course correction where it's like, okay, we can angle the deflection plate this much. They can do a lot of things. And again, they could still had like, you know, this is untested technology. They could have easily be like, okay, we had Orion project and then some, you know, boom happened in the ship rather than having outside. It happened like just it was ejected instead of going 100-meter behind and going boom. It just like damaged the ship. Okay. That would have made more compelling. But this was so stupid. This was like stupid. That was just stupid. That is so stupid. It's disrespectful to Asian. It's stupid. This is stupid. This should not have happened. We have better. But I mean, that was the most silly part to me. It's like, bruh, what? There are other things, but this was like, nah. And the speed they got is like 79.7 kilometer per second. They could have made 69, but too on the nose. But this also made me feel very like pulled me out of the story. So this was my presentation on basically the review of three-body problem. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.